Are you struggling to find affordable housing in Michigan? Stay with us, because this explainer could be your very first step towards securing a stable home through Section 8 housing. Welcome in. I am so glad you're here. If you've been trying to navigate the complex world of rental assistance, you know it can feel like a maze of acronyms, wait lists, and confusing paperwork. But don't worry, because today we're breaking it all down together. We are going to explore the ultimate, step-by-step guide to applying for Section 8 housing right here in Michigan.
Let me ask you directly, are you struggling to find affordable housing? If the answer is yes, you are in exactly the right place. This explainer isn't just a bunch of dry, random facts. It's the exact knowledge you need to navigate this system successfully. We're going to give you the tools to take control of your housing journey.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with what Section 8 actually is, move on to who qualifies in Michigan, and then go over the application process. After that, we'll talk about mastering those waiting lists, your rights and rules, and finally, where you can find extra support.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1. What exactly is Section 8 and understanding the Housing Choice Voucher? First things first. In Michigan and really across the whole country, when people say Section 8, they are almost always talking about the Housing Choice Voucher Program, or HCV for short. It's the exact same thing. Historically, this program was designed to alleviate housing insecurity for low-income families, seniors, and folks with disabilities. It's funded at the federal level by HUD, but managed locally by public housing agencies, most notably MSHDA, which is the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. Basically, it allows you to choose your own housing in the private market, whether that's an apartment, a townhouse, or a single-family home. Now here's a really crucial distinction you need to make right away. You've got the Housing Choice Voucher on one hand and things like State Emergency Relief, or SER, on the other. The HCV provides long-term help by capping your portion of the rent at roughly 30% of your adjusted income. SER, though, is just a one-time emergency payment to help with an immediate crisis, like if you're facing an eviction filing. Setting your expectations is key here. Section 8 is all about long-term stability, not overnight emergency relief.
Moving right along to Section 2. Who qualifies in Michigan? Let's navigate these eligibility requirements. Income limits can get a bit tricky because they're directly tied to two specific things: the county you intend to live in and your family size. Take a look at this example for a 4-person family in Westland, Michigan. To qualify as very low income, that family needs to make $52,400 or less. But here's a massive tip for you. By federal mandate, public housing agencies actually have to target at least 75% of their new vouchers to the extremely low income tier. For our Westland example, that means an income of $33,000 or less. Knowing exactly which tier you fall into is super important for understanding your chances.
But income is not the only hurdle you have to clear. You also need to pass some fairly strict background checks and asset limits to maintain your eligibility. Your countable assets need to be under roughly $105,000, though things like retirement accounts are totally exempt. You do have to be a U.S. citizen or have an eligible immigration status. And there are some mandatory criminal exclusions to be aware of. If anyone in the household is subject to a lifetime sex offender registry or has a conviction for producing meth on federally assisted property, they're entirely excluded. Local agencies will also run checks for recent violent crimes or fraud against government assistance programs.
All right, on to Section 3, the application process. Let's talk about executing your submission.
Navigating the Michigan system really requires strict adherence to a simple chronological workflow. Why? Because missing a single deadline or submitting an incomplete form can result in immediate denial. Step 1, you have to actively monitor the waitlist portals. Step 2, compile every single required document beforehand. And Step 3, submit your online pre-application the exact moment that window opens up.
Let's zoom in on Step 2, the documents. You must gather these up perfectly. We're talking unexpired government-issued IDs for the adults, social security cards for everyone, birth certificates for minors, and proof of income, like your last 2 pay stubs or benefit letters. Plus, you need 60 days of bank statements and your most recent tax return. Now, here is a pro tip that catches so many people off guard. MSHDA's online system will actually reject files that are larger than 2 megabytes. Seriously, this stalls thousands of applications. Make absolutely sure your digital files are formatted as PDFs or JPEGs and are kept under that 2 megabyte limit.
Section 4 is all about mastering the waiting lists, managing expectations, and strategy.
We have to talk about the harsh reality of waitlists. They can open and close with incredibly short notice. Sometimes, a county list might literally only be open for 72 hours before it shuts down again, sometimes for years.
Because of this, you absolutely have to stay vigilant. Make it part of your routine to check the statewide MSHDA open waitlists map, as well as your local housing authority websites every single week to see what counties are lighting up.
Understanding preference tiers is going to be your secret weapon. MSHDA doesn't just pull names out of a hat, they use a strict 8-tier hierarchy. Claiming a verified preference allows you to legally jump ahead of folks who don't have one. For instance, if you're experiencing homelessness in the county where you're applying, you get placed in Tier 2. If you have a verified disability and live in the county, you're in Tier 3. Just being a resident of the county gets you into Tier 4, well ahead of someone applying from out of state. Always claim and verify the highest preference you legally qualify for.
Moving to Section 5, Rights, Rules, and Housing. Let's cover how to maintain your voucher. If you or a family member has a disability, you have the right to request what's known as a reasonable accommodation. It's great because the program can actually adapt to fit your needs. That might mean being approved for an extra bedroom to store bulky medical equipment, space for a live-in aide, or getting a higher utility allowance to support health devices. The program really is designed to work with you.
You're also empowered by some incredible tenant protections. For example, starting in April 2025, Michigan law actually bans source of income discrimination for landlords operating 5 or more units. That means they cannot turn you away simply because you're paying with a Section 8 voucher. That is huge. But with those rights come responsibilities. The unit you pick has to pass strict health and safety inspections under the new NSPIRE standard. You also have the absolute responsibility to report any changes in your income or family size promptly. Oh, and here's a great feature. Vouchers offer portability. After a certain period, you can actually take your voucher and move to a completely different county or state. Finally, Section 6, Resources and Support. Where exactly can you turn for help? You really aren't alone in this process. Always seek updated information directly from the official MSHDA website or your local public housing authority, because policies and statuses change all the time. If you run into legal trouble, remember that legal aid services are out there. Detroit tenants facing eviction, for example, now have a free lawyer under the city's right to counsel law. And don't forget to lean on local community organizations to help verify things like homelessness preferences so you can keep moving up that wait list.
Before we wrap up, I do need to share this quick reminder. This explainer provides a general guide and should not be considered as legal advice. For the most current and personalized advice, please consult with your local housing authority or legal expert.
I want to leave you with this final thought. What is the one document you can gather today to start your journey towards stable housing tomorrow? Don't wait on this. Go find that birth certificate, download those bank statements, and start building your digital application packet right now. That way, you will be 100% ready when those waitlist doors finally open. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time.